welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm hanging next to the Inner Ring Road in Leeds, as you can see, with Ash. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah, you have your 8th album coming out real soon. Where did the islands come from?
Well, it started actually kind of as soon as we finished the last record. We finished a tour in Japan, and at the end of a tour I stayed in Japan because we've been there like for 20 tours or something like that, or 22 over the years. I've just never seen any Japan, and I heard about these islands I'd always wanted to see called Naoshima and Toshima, which are just really interesting. There's like they were kind of pretty much abandoned islands, but then these art foundations came and like put these incredible like museums and buildings down there. So now a lot of people are traveling there, and so it's this kind of weird mix of art and amazing architecture in like kind of the middle of nowhere, and you have to like you have to get a ferry out to these places. So that was the first island I went to, and then later I went to Majorca, to this village called Dea, to write there for like 10 days, and then I went to Santorini in Greece, and then I went to an Irish island called Lambay Island, which is like a population of 6 people, and also our studio is in Manhattan in New York, so it's an island as well. So the whole thing, there was just this kind of islands theme went through all the record.
It really fits. I noticed that the album art is a lot bleaker than other stuff you've put out. You're like, Kablamo is straight out there, boom, and this one's quite, but the music isn't. Moody. I mean, to me, it's rip-roaring. It reminds me of your real earlier stuff. There's a bit of funk going on there as well. I mean,
that's right. There's some new directions all over the place there.
Yeah. So what is the process for like writing for you?
I guess I was writing a lot actually during this whole time, and I was writing on these islands, and I was also, when I was in New York, I was doing these things where I try to write 10 songs in 10 hours once a week, and so I just had tons and tons of ideas, and that's why it's quite diverse, because after a few hours of writing, you start like exploring different styles and stuff. So that's why there's a bit of that.
Yeah, and then we sort of got together in the studio, and I think pretty quickly we whittled down like probably 60, 70 ideas down to 11 somehow, and they all just felt like they really worked together, and kind of like, I guess the subject matter was all kind of what tied it all together. So it was really, I think I was probably excited in Scotland. These guys are in New York, where our studio is. So I was over for, I guess it was about 10 days or something like that, and we sort of like got all the songs together, and then it came over a few weeks later, and just sort of like an intense burst of, it surprised us that the album came together sort of from like picking the songs and getting started so quickly. But
yeah, it was quite easy.
Do you tend that you all have the same idea about direction, or do you have a bit of, I think that song is better than this, so you have a bit of you have to have it out about it? I mean,
it kind of depends, but this one was really clear actually. We kind of knew all from the get-go. We used
to write about like things a bit. We used to be more precious of like directions and like songs, but now we're just kind of like, I guess we're older and we're just more like chill, so we're just like we're more freer to try stuff out.
And I think there was so much material to work with, is we kind of only needed to pick the songs that all 3 of us were excited by as well. So it was kind of like, wow, this is great. It was like a great buzz.
So you're releasing this on Infectious Records, which all your other albums were released on, apart from one label. So what caused the switch and then back again?
Well, we got a real weird journey with Infectious, because we were on them for our first 3 albums, and then Infectious got bought by Atlantic and Warner Brothers, and the head of Infectious became head of Warner Brothers, and so we were kind of, for Meltdown and Twilight of Innocence, we were kind of on Infectious, but it was
just like an imprint.
Warner's
was the actual.
Right.
And then then we did A to Z all on our own label, and then Kablamo we did Ear Music. Yeah. But kind of since then, Infectious, like for a while Infectious didn't exist, and then it came back into existence, and then they wanted to re-sign us. So it's great to be back with them. Like Corda, the head guy, signed us when we were 17 years old. So it's cool being back.
Yeah, it's a real long journey. So you mentioned Twilight of the Innocence, that was 2007.
Yeah.
And when that was out, that was the last Ash album ever. We were only going to release singles. And was that a response to you trying to be flexible in music and treat the band as a business? Or I don't want to predict what you're going to say. So what was behind that?
It wasn't really it was kind of like we just kind of felt like we should move with the times, and we wanted to be the first people to do it, because I guess like Twilight came out in 2007, which was, you know, when album sales were really plummeting and everyone was just cherry picking singles and stuff like that, and it just felt like, you know, we don't want these songs to just get lost, so we thought like in future, well, you know, if everything's a single, then it's like people will get into it. And yeah, it's just like, it just felt like a kind of like a bit of a Wild West kind of time.
The music industry had collapsed basically. Yeah. It was kind of like everything went. So we were trying to like
everyone was everyone was freaking out, and we saw it was an opportunity to kind of shake things up and do something exciting. I think we were just way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I think if someone was doing that right now, it would really suit, you know, in the kind of Spotify world, and, you know, putting out a single every 2 weeks, I think would be great. But yeah, we also like experimented with our own subscription service for it, so it was a bit kind of ahead of people doing that. And
I think the reason why we announced it then was we sort of predicted everyone was going to be doing it in a year's time, so we did it the same week we released the album.
Yeah.
So we were pretty committed, but I don't know, I think we sort of, I guess when the band started as well, like after our like first mini album, when we were like still in school, we were releasing singles like that ended up on 1977, like sort of like a few times a year. It was really kind of exciting period for us, and it was like, I think, you know, we kind of surprised people with some of the choices in the songs, or maybe sort of changed what people kind of thought of the band at the time, and it felt like this is an opportunity to do something like that and really sort of play with our identity.
Also, yeah, creatively we wanted to break away from doing albums. You know, we've been doing it for like album tour, and I think
I always felt weird to be away from that sort of like creative process for so long, and then sort of like you have to spend like a bunch of time sort of getting back into that sort of mode of thinking. So we kind of wanted to do something where we could sort of be in the studio, go out, do some gigs, come back to the studio,
and also not worry about it all fitting together. You know, we could just like really experiment. It was also like we just got our own studio as well, so we had like a place where we could do like just be like a factory and like churn out a lot of singles and just, you know, experiment. So.
Yeah. So like going on from that, so you then, you know, now you had Kablamo in 2015, and then you've got Islands coming out next week. Do you think you're going to return to the album thing, or
I think we're back into
happens?
It. Yeah.
I think you know, it's like I guess like, you know, the consumption thing has changed so much, but I think the industry always seems to still be based around that sort of like release date and album thing, a couple of singles leading up to it. So that's one thing that we did sort of like factor into it really.
Our fans love our albums, so I think our fans like us making albums as well. And just like Islands is there is kind of a story to the whole thing, so it suits being an album as well. And then vinyl kind of had the resurgence. So some people still listen to a complete body of work, you know, so yeah, we kind of came back to it. We were kind of worried we'd get a lot of flack when we did come back with Kablamo, but actually no one really minded. I think fans were actually psyched.
They welcomed it.
Yeah.
So like, do you have any favourite songs from the new album?
Loads, yeah. We played
all of them.
Yeah, well, we played 3 of them today for the first time live, and that was really cool, like Buzzkill, Annabelle, and All That I Have Left. One of my favourites is the last track in the whole album. And we did have a bit of an argument for a while, but like, because I was like, this song is so good, like it can't be the last song, because it kind of feels like the epic album closer.
Yeah, kind of sums up a lot of the themes. It's just like
and then it was like
epic end of album sort of moment, which I was kind of pushing for.
But then we were like, but if we move it earlier in the album, more people are going to hear it, and but then eventually we were like, it makes it feel more complete.
Are you able to predict which songs are going to be the live favourites? Do you think after releasing so many?
We can just play them live, or play them in a rehearsal room. You kind of get a feel for what's like.
Yeah. You can tell when there's one we played, or a couple we played in rehearsal, and we were like, "Fuck, this feels so good." We were like,
we did 5 in soundcheck today as well, and it's just like. There was a couple of moments where we just like finished the song and went, oh my god, that was just huge.
Yeah.
We were pretty psyched. We were pretty psyched by soundcheck.
That's amazing.
Would it be as huge as an Enormosaurus?
What's an Enormosaurus?
It's like a new dinosaur that got discovered.
What are your favourite dinosaurs?
I like the Megasaurus.
Is that bigger than an Enormosaurus?
Not quite.
when the question was posed, just the name Styracosaurus popped into my head, but I'm not quite sure which one. I think it might be like a Triceratops, because like instead of a frill, it's got like tons of horns.
Oh, I might try it.
But it's not necessarily my favorite. It was just my favorite name.
Favorite name.
How about you?
I think I'm a diplodocus kind of girl. I like how they're simple. They have no spikes or anything. They're just like a big.
Have you heard anyone ever call it a diplodocus? I like diplodocus personally.
Diplodocus. I think, I mean,
when I was
probably
5, it was called diplodocus, so it's going to remain.
So you guys have an enviable back catalogue. Do you have a favourite song of all time to play live? And after so long playing live, do you still have those sort of pins and needles and stomach butterflies and things every time you go on stage?
Today definitely this is our first gig of the year today, so definitely very exciting. I guess that kind of, you get a bit more used to that. Playing a couple of gigs will be quite chill, but today was the real buzz. I still like playing Girl from Mars a lot. For one of our biggest hits. That's never got bored of it, and the crowd always gets really into it.
8 albums. You have a lot of songs that made it onto those records. Do you have any songs that you've maybe wrote 2 or 3 albums ago that you're saving for the right time, in a Radiohead True Love Waits kind of way, or?
Well, we're kind of almost ready for a new album. Actually, we've got the songs together for the next album already.
That's good news.
But there have been a few things where like a song just wasn't ready in time. Like Burn Baby Burn. Not as good version of that could have been on Nuclear Sounds, but we rewrote the chorus, and then
something about the chorus just wasn't sitting right.
So we redid that.
Worth it.
There's parts.
Probably thousands of songs to wade through to find which ones are.
There's some parts
maybe should be worked on more.
There's some parts which didn't get finished from Kablamo, which are actually going to be on the next album.
If you weren't called Ash, what would you be called?
Oh wow. I was thinking that Tim Wheeler and the other 2 guys. What do you think?
That's usually what people call a band when I'm back home.
Yeah, we do. If we want to hide or if we've got like a sort of unfinished track or hasn't been released yet, we normally will have it in our music libraries under the Cobra Kai from Karate Kid. Don't tell anyone. Can you bleep that out?
Keeping it secret. I will not tell anybody. It's really, really great to meet you. I've been Kim, Never Enough Notes, and they've been Ash.